speaking of running the country into the ground, this one's going to blow your mind, folks. Blow your mind. Joe Biden, over the weekend, demanded privately owned gas stations to basically figure out the price per gas and saying that this is all their fault. So before it was Trump's fault, then it was Putin's fault, then it was somebody else's fault that he couldn't name, some mystery figure out there, and now it's the gas company's fault, or the oil companies, and then it moved into now the gas stations themselves. He's basically pulling a Hillary Clinton here and just blaming anybody and everybody that he can. It says here, Democrat President Joe Biden was slammed Saturday afternoon on social media after he tried to blame high gas prices on gas stations now and demanded that they immediately lower the prices that they are charging at the pump. Biden's absurd claim comes after NBC News reported earlier this year that gas stations make 15 cents a gallon on average, according to the National Association of Convenience Stores. He said this in a Twitter post: "My message to the companies running gas stations and setting prices at the pump is simple. This is a time of war and global peril. We're not in war. I would like to point out, we haven't been in war for a while. At least not since World War II, if you want to look at a declared war by Congress. Sure, we're in these battles throughout the world. We'll always be in battles throughout the world, but we're not in a time of war." He says, "Bring down the price you are charging at the pump to reflect the cost you're paying for the product, and do it now." Who does this guy think he is? Just telling private businesses to do what they do? This is common, folks. This is common for the Democrat Party to try and tell private businesses what they can and can't do. Case in point, COVID-19. Case in point, giving authority over to the CDC to tell businesses what they can and can't do. You see this all the time. You saw this with the EPA. The Supreme Court just ruled down the EPA for basically telling, hey, you can't just tell people what to do and not do. That's left up to Congress. Have Congress do their damn job. They don't want to do that, though. They want to blame everybody and everything but themselves. It is astonishing that people still vote for this guy. I've been putting out shorts on YouTube this whole week, so if you're not a subscriber over YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. You'll love the stuff that's being published here at the Bald Brad Show. Leftists and Democrats still love this guy. They will follow this dude wanderously into the wilderness because he doesn't know where the hell he's going till the day they die. It is baffling that they think this guy, and they say he's better than Trump. They say Joe Biden's better than Trump. Can you believe it? The cost of gasoline has been increasing for most of Biden's presidency as his administration has continued to block drilling efforts, including a new report from this week. Get this one, folks. How the far left administration plans to block new offshore drilling, oil drilling in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. They're doing everything they can. He's losing sleep over it, according to Jen Psaki, when she was the press secretary. He's still losing sleep over it, according to his new press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. How do you organize this? How does this make sense to anybody? And somehow it just makes sense to Democrats. I would love to be on somebody's side and be like, hey, he's working hard at it. He's really figuring it out. I could tell he's trying his best. I want to be able to root for my president, okay? Just because he's on the Democrat side doesn't mean I want to crap on him all the time. But give me something here that's like, hey, he's working really hard. He's figuring it out. He ain't doing jack. You got Ted Cruz jumping in the mix. My message to the guy running your teleprompter, it's not your fault. Oh my God, it's so good. Reverse the dozens of executive orders, regulations, and agency actions targeting American energy and gas prices will fall fast. He's not going to do it, dude. He would have done it already. Look, I don't necessarily know if it's going to decrease fast. Maybe the idea of the regulations and executive orders might boost some sort of market to shift in a certain direction, which would benefit the price per gallon. But I don't know if it happened fast. Again, a lot of this stuff takes time to pull permits, to go ahead and start drilling, to do all sorts of things. So I don't necessarily agree with the fast part, but damn, he hit him hard there. My message to the guy with your teleprompter. Joe Biden fights with the teleprompter all the time. You know things are bad when Jeff Bezos of Amazon jumps into the mix. He says, ouch, inflation is far too important a problem for the White House to keep making statements like this. It's either straight ahead misdirection or a deep misunderstanding of basic market dynamics. I've talked about this all the time on the show. Joe Biden doesn't have a clue on the market or the economy. And I specifically said it blows my mind because he's been in office for like 40 plus years. You think the guy would have some clue on how things work. And maybe he did years ago, but because he's clearly in some sort of cognitive decline, he doesn't understand it. Clearly his people around him don't understand it. Or if they do understand it, he's just not listening to it. I don't know what's going on, but according to them, it's just a transition phase, guys. All this is just a transition phase. You have the Speaker of the Texas House saying the POTUS is doubling down on his request for gas stations to take one for the team A complete lack of understanding of how the industry or anything operates. Margins are pennies per gallon. A 40-plus year inflation crisis, and this is a solution? Looking forward to November. Aren't we all? I'm looking forward to 2024. 2 more years of this stuff, and it's only going to get worse. Wait till we get to our next article of gas prices hitting anywhere from $15 to $16 an hour in your states, not just California. That would be national average, $15, $16 a gallon. No joke. That comes from JP Morgan Chase. We'll get to that in a moment. Yeah, the EIC saying, I'm starting to think this guy has no idea what's going on. Been saying it for a year and a half, bud. His name's John Gabriel. Been saying it for a year and a half. John Durant, who's an author, said textbook gaslighting. Dems are doing everything in their power to raise the price of fossil fuels, a manufactured crisis, then blaming high prices on local gas stations. They're doing the same thing with immigration, doing the same thing with inflation, doing the same thing with gas prices. It's all done by the Democrats. They'll say, well, what does the president of the executive branch have anything to do with the economy? I don't know, maybe doing executive orders. I don't know, maybe doing and executing the laws that are on the books that allow you and giving you certain powers to alleviate certain regulation, but he doesn't want to do that. But I don't know what power does he have? God, I don't know. It's unbelievable. But remember when Trump had so much power, right? It was never Trump who did well in the economy. You know, it was always somebody else. It's crazy. It's crazy. You have a political commentator here. LO, there's no margin in gasoline. They make their money on the sodas and junk food. There is a franchise 101 level knowledge what the leader of the free world is lacking. You have the Washington Post. I'm sorry, but this is just sad. The whole administration is really just sad, quite frankly. When you watch the guy, everything he does, I just did a snippet on a YouTube short the other day. Again, another reason to follow here at the Bald Brad Show. You get great content. I mean, the guy fumbles, fights the teleprompter like Ted Cruz said, hits a golf ball backwards, falls going upstairs multiple times, loses his train of thought, fights with his teleprompter, makes up stories that never happened, forgets his name, forgets his administration people's names, forgets his own wife's name. It is astonishing what's going on with this man. And like I said, Democrats still want it. There's still going to be millions of people that vote for this guy, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So this gets into my next point regarding this story. Things are about to get way worse, folks. And you think Putin didn't have power? Wait till you hear about the power this man has now. He has the power to make your lives a living hell. If he stops making 1 million barrels of oil a day, you're screwed. If he stops making 5 million barrels a day, you're going to see price per barrel go up to $380 a barrel. Right now, we're seeing like $111, I think, per gallon. I keep saying per gallon, per barrel. So $111 per barrel. If he stops producing them, you're looking at $380 per barrel of oil, which you're going to start seeing on a national average about $15, $16 per gallon. This is not good. And these numbers here, you always love when the journalists and leftist media rub the shoulders of Democrats and these leftist politicians, because they always like bring everything down a little bit. They like make it bare bones to make it not seem as bad. So I'm giving you realistic numbers here. Oil prices at just above $100 a barrel. It's 111 and going up, by the way. Have driving gas prices above $5 based on a gasoline of regular nationwide. A gallon of gasoline. In some states, the number is closer to $6. Yeah, if you look at California, it's about $9.45 in some places. Ours is over $6 in a lot of places. If you look in LA County, you're looking at almost $8 a gallon. Oil prices also affect other parts of the country. Just jet fuel itself spiked, and those cut off airline profits. Oil is used in petrochemicals, which are used throughout many parts of America's manufacturing industries. You have high gas prices have started to beat down the ability of Americans to purchase beyond their housing prices, clothing prices, and fuel. Consumer activity is over 2/3 of GDP. So in other words, the entire United States economy is at risk of a recession, and some say we're already in a recession. Some say it's already begun, and it's only going to get worse. It has to get worse, right? I mean, if Joe Biden's in office for another 2 years, how could it get better? The guy hasn't figured out anything. He's only made everything worse. He hasn't done a damn thing. Sure, the Democrats and leftist progressive, oh, he's done this little tiny thing that has no impact on anything. He just did it. Well, he signed a bill with like 8 pens. That's something, right? Yeah, okay. A family with an income of $40,000 probably does not have after-tax income of more than $2,500 a month. Gas prices increase can add a burden of several $100s a month. JP Morgan Energy and Analysts recently reported that crude could reach $380 a barrel. This would be triggered by a sharp curtailment of Russian exports. Vladimir Putin has a lot of power here, folks. a lot of power to hurt the West. And in return, this would be caused by the friction between the West and Russia over the war in Ukraine. Bloomberg itself reported on the research which forecasts Russia could cut 5 million barrels of production a day without crippling its own economy. We're all here saying, oh, look at all these like sanctions that are put on them and all these things on Russia. Russia's not doing that bad anymore, folks. They're still getting lots of money. And again, like I said, he has the power to really screw over all of you. And I love how everyone's like, oh, I'll take a hit for Ukraine. Not anymore, you ain't. Not at $15, $16 a gallon, you ain't. Gas prices primarily rely on oil prices themselves. Other components include refinery costs, transportation, and state and federal taxes. Well, yet President Biden and some governors have suggested a temporary suspension of these taxes, and it would help consumers. Not really. For a short time, it's like a Band-Aid. Republicans tried to do this in Obama's time in 2008 when he was running for president. It's a bunch of hocus pocus. It was stupid of Republicans to even suggest it. It's not going to do much. Oil prices at $380 would push gas prices above $10 a gallon and perhaps towards $15. So see how they're being super disingenuous here? Like, oh, it'll be above $10 here. $380 it's like triple. Go from $111 per barrel to $380, and you're going to tell me that it's only going to increase on a national average of $4 when you're tripling the cost per barrel. And I can't emphasize enough. China hasn't entered the mix in yet, folks. Things are only going to get worse once China's economy comes up and running. The U.S. economy could not take that kind of shock. And whatever recession might be ahead would deepen. I don't even know if it would lead into a recession. You might even look into a depression with those kind of prices. I was talking to somebody, I don't even know if the meters on the actual gas themselves go to double digits. I've only ever seen like $1, like 98 cents or 3.75 or whatever. I've never seen double digit numbers. We'll have to see. Like I said, there was a gas station in California that was at like 9.98 or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to find out. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.